an ordinary member now. I was the chairman of the same committee in the last legislature, but this time I'm an ordinary member. I'm the chairman for the Select Committee on Environment. Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker, and good morning, Honorable Members. The report I am about to present is a consolidated report of the consideration of audited financial statements, management letters, and activity reports of public institutions and the visit to hard-to-reach schools in CRR and URR. These are regions 5 and 6, respectively. The table of contents is introduction, acknowledgement, University of the Gambia, National Accreditation and Quality Assurance Authority, that's NACA, National Council for Civic Education, Management Development Institute, MDI, Gambia College, and visit to hard school areas. Honorable Speaker, in compliance with the provisions of sections 102, 109, 110, and 175 of the 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia, the Select Committee on Education, Training, and ICT of the National Assembly considered the annual activity reports and audited financial statements, as well as the external auditors' management letters of all the institutions and agencies under the purview of the committee. This exercise is to ensure accountability, transparency, and probity in all public institutions and agencies for efficient service delivery. 5 public institutions were summoned to appear before the committee. These are the University of the Gambia, UTG, the National Accreditation and Quality Assurance Directorate, NACA, Management Development Institute, MDI, the Gambia College, National Council for Civic Education, and the National Library. The committee received and considered testimonies and evidence from key witnesses, including board members, management, external auditors, and staff of Gambia Public Procurement Authority, GPPA. In addition, other issues and queries were considered, and subsequently, the committee made recommendations. As part of our oversight functions, the committee also visited schools regarded by the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education as hard-to-reach schools in the Upper River and Central River regions of the country in July 2021. The Gambia education policy aims to provide access to quality basic and secondary education for every Gambian child. This visit is therefore essential for the committee to perform effective oversight on policy and budget implementation geared towards providing equal access to education and opportunities to children in remote areas that are extremely difficult to access. During this extremely intensive exercise, the committee, in partnership with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education and Gambia Teachers Union, and Gambia Teachers Union Cooperative Credit Union, GTU-CCU, were able to complete most of the tasks we set out to perform. Acknowledgement. The committee is grateful to the Office of the Speaker and the Office of the Clerk of the National Assembly in providing technical support during the whole process. I wish to express my appreciation to the honorable members of the committee secretariat, subject matter specialists, school heads and teachers for the valuable information provided to us that culminated in the production of this report. The committee wishes to acknowledge with appreciation the invaluable support and cooperation of all the public institutions, agencies that complied and submitted themselves to legislative scrutiny as established by law. Similarly, we are also indebted to all aides, subject matter specialists, clerk and support staff of the committee for their support, without which the committee would not have succeeded. On behalf of the Select Committee on Education, Training and ICT Committee, it is my pleasant privilege and honor to present to this Assembly a consolidated report of the Committee on the activities of public institutions under our purview, as well as visits to hard-to-reach schools in and CRR. With the public institutions, we begin with the University of the Gambia. For the UTG, we considered their report from 2015 to 2021. And I want to inform this August Assembly, 2015 to 2019, I want to inform this August Assembly that when we started this exercise, we found a backlog of unconsidered reports from 2015. So we had to work backwards from 2015 in order to be able to do our oversight work effectively, because those years would provide, we thought, would provide us the basis to work on the more recent financial statements. So with the University of the Gambia, the Vice Chancellor and the Board Chairman presented the activity reports of the institution for the year ended 31st December 2015 to 2019 to the Select Committee on Education, Training and ICT. The report covered the activities, constraints, recommendations, and updates on implementation of previous recommendations of the then PAC-PEC. It used to be PAC and PEC that considered these reports. But during the fifth legislature, the Office of the Clerk decided that other committees too could help, because there was a lot of backlog. So this is why I think it was the select committees, or some select committees were also involved. But this time around, everything has gone back to FPAC and PEC. The Director of Finance and auditors presented the financial statements and the audit reports respectively, whilst the GPPA presented a compliance report of the institution with procurement regulations, findings and issues, governance. We're talking about the University of the Gambia. The committee observed that the Governing Council was an interim body since 2017. The second one, the committee observed that there were vacant senior management positions. The committee too observed that UTG was found to be 50% compliant as at 2017, which denotes fairly compliant with the Public Procurement Act 2014 and Regulations 2003. From the NACA report, that there is no consistent and systematic approach to the development of curriculum within the university. There was no policy indicating the frequency of policy review. The committee observed that the Internal Audit Department is a member of the Contracts Committee. The committee too observed that the audit team should concentrate on their responsibilities on the procurement chain. The internal auditors should prepare and submit quarterly reports to Governing Council. And on revenue and expenditure, the committee observed that with reference to the purchase of air tickets in 2015, a transaction was approved by the Contracts Committee for $120,000, but the tickets purchased was over $300,000. The institution maintained an overdraft of $10 million in the bank when they had more than $25 million equivalent in foreign currency in the same bank. Research and development activities. The committee noticed with great concern that there was no evidence of documented policy on research and development. And then we recommend the following. The UTG should set up a permanent governing council by the end of June 2021. The Governing Council should set up various subcommittees by the end of July 2022. All vacant senior positions at the UTG are filled by 2021. The UTG should conduct special procurement training for all members of the Contracts Committee, Finance Unit, and the internal auditors by the end of March 2021. The UTG should comply with all GPPA regulations, particularly issues relating to single sourcing. The UTG should desist from offering courses that are not accredited by NACA and fulfill all the requirements demanded by it. In subsequent reports, a table of contents should be provided as it is necessary to guide the readership through the voluminous reports. Reports from various schools should include the courses offered, achievements and constraints, as well as the way forward. An organogram showing the management structure of the university and the members of the Governing Council should be included in the report. The registrar to give a summary report on various statistics of the university, including but not limited to current student registration by faculty, gender, number of graduating students, staff, etc. This will show the readership the overall figures. The finance unit should prepare quarterly management accounts and various analytical reports which should be made available to the internal auditors and Governing Council. The committee recommends that the university review all undergraduate programs after every 5 years. This should be explicit in the strategic plan, and funds should be committed to it. Now, broad recommendations. Broadly, the committee recommends that the management of the University of the Gambia should: 1. Ensure all new courses are proposed by the deans of individual faculties and approved by Senate. All courses to be accredited by NACA. Well-equipped labs must be provided for all science-based courses as a matter of priority. Staff intending to go on study leave with salary must fulfill all the bonding requirements and must be cleared by the Vice Chancellor in writing. All pending bonding cases must be regularized immediately. The finance and procurement units must not process any payment without proper documentation as required by GPPA procurement guidelines. All requested information should be submitted to external auditors, GPPA, and NACA within 7 working days so that they can complete their work on time. Annual reports should be submitted within 3 months of the end of the financial year as dictated by Section 175(5) of the 1997 Constitution. The UTG should create a health and safety unit with clear terms of reference to guide its operations by the last quarter of 2021. The committee recommends that an up-to-date research strategy be developed to reflect university's current research aspirations and infrastructure to support the coordination and direction of UTG's research and knowledge transfer activities. The committee recommends that the University of the Gambia should ensure that all the recommendations made by the Education Committee are fully implemented before the deadlines given. And we go to National Accreditation and Quality Assurance Directorate, NACA. Issues, concerns, and recommendations. The Chief Executive of National Accreditation and Quality Assurance Authority presented the reports of the institutions for the years ended 31st December 2018 and 31st December 2019 to the Select Committee on Education, Training, and ICT. The report covered the activities, constraints, recommendations, and updates on implementation of previous recommendations of the then PAC PREC. The Director of Finance and the auditors presented the financial statement and auditor's report respectively, whilst the GPPA presented a compliance report of the institution with procurement regulations. The committee is also delighted to note that NACA has implemented 90% of the recommendations and issues raised in the previous reports. Journals for non-cash transactions. Have the committee observed from the management letter of 2019 that journal vouchers were not raised for the following transactions before posting into the accounting system. Date from 31st December 2029, details fuel. 2019, 31st December 2019 fuel, amounts $66,050, fuel ledger and lubricants, then 900500. Then on the 31st December 2019, cost of audit fees was $250,000 as professional fees. 31st December 2019, SPLIT, $473,705. These are accruals and other payables. 31 December 2019, PAY, $10,155. This is withholding tax payable. 31 December 2019, net for September to December is $1,574,644. On the 15th May 2019, interest received $135,000. On the 13th February 2019, net accrued $5,502,380. 19 February 2019 personnel cost, 683,646. These are salaries and wages. 19 February 2019 personnel cost, 74,643 salaries and wages. 19 February 2019 personnel cost, 63,000. These are salaries and wages. Then you go to fuel distribution policy. The committee observed that the management does not maintain fuel distribution policy to guide management on distribution of fuel. GPPA compliance level, not available. Recommendations. The committee recommends the following. NACA should ensure that that annual reports and financial statements are submitted to National Assembly in line with Section 175, subsection 5 of the 1997 Constitution. The authority should perform quality audit visits in all institutions under their purview at least once every year to ascertain compliance. The authority should ensure that all licenses relating to trainers and institutions are renewed in accordance with the policy guidelines. The authority should review and set guidelines on curriculum development for all institutions to ensure alignment in standards. The Governing Council should approve overspending on any budget or on any budget line. The Finance and Admin Department should generate quality reports, including variance analysis on budget utilizations, to ensure management is fully updated. The authority should ensure that all withholding taxes are paid to GRA promptly. The committee recommends that the National Accreditation and Quality Authority should ensure that all the recommendations made by the committee are fully implemented. We go to National Council for Civic Education, NCCE, 2017 to 2018. Issues, concerns, recommendations, 2017 to 18. The Administrative Secretary of the National Council for Civic Education, NCCE, presented the reports for the years ended 31st December 2017 and 2018 to the Select Committee on Education, Training and ICT. The reports covered the activities, constraints, recommendations and updates on implementation of previous recommendations. The Director of Finance presented the financial statement and the auditors report, and the auditors reported the audit findings, whilst GPPA presented compliance report of the institution with procurement regulations, findings, accounting manual. The committee observed in 2018 management report that the accounting framework used in the preparation of the accounts was International Public Sector Accounting Standard, 𝒉𝒆𝒅, cash basis. However, the Finance and Accounting Department Accounting Procedures Manual does not state the accounting policy or framework that the Council should use in preparing the receipts and payments. Vacant positions. The committee observed that there are some vacant positions and thus not showing the true picture of the Council's structure. We have vacancy name, grade point, Executive Director, grade 12, Monitoring and Evaluation Officer, grade 9, and Administrative Assistant, grade 7. These are the vacant positions. GPPA compliance level. The committee observed that the National Council for Civic Education, NCCE, was found to be 98% compliant, which denotes fully compliant with the public procurement rules and regulations. Recommendations. The committee recommends that the NCCE update their Finance and Accounting Procedures Manual to indicate the type of accounting policy or reporting framework the Council should use in preparing the receipts and payments. The NCCE should fill all vacant positions by the end of July 2021 to ensure smooth operations of the institution. The NCCE should ensure that all previous recommendations made by the committee be fully implemented by the end of 2021. NCCE, in consultation with Parliament and Ministry of Justice, should urgently review and amend the Act, which is grossly inadequate. Their Act is only, I think, 1.5 pages long. You know, that's nothing in the Act. The governance structure and organogram should be included in the future activity reports. The FPAC, in consultation with the Ministry of Finance, should ensure that all budget agencies segregate the budget of all subvented institutions, including NCCE, and clearly show them in the national budget. The Office of the Vice President should, as a matter of urgency, make arrangements for NCCE to have land for the construction of a permanent head office. The NCCE to conduct assessments on the impact of civil education activities in communities. Consider migrating from 𝒊𝒏𝒆𝒄𝒊𝒏𝒈 cash-based accounting framework to IFRS accrual accounting. All audit recommendations should be implemented. When we go to Management Development Institute, MDI 2017 to 2019. Issues, concerns, and recommendations from the report. The Director General of Management Development Institute presented the activity reports of the institution for the year ended 31st December 2017 to 31st December 2019. The report covered the activities, finance, and constraints, as well as updates on implementation of previous recommendations of the then FPAC. The final statement was presented and the auditors reported on the audit findings, whilst DPPA presented the compliance report of the institution with procurement regulations. Findings. The committee observed that during the years under review, the institution never maintained an up-to-date asset register. Assets purchased or acquired were not recorded in the register. However, fixed assets of substantial value donated to the institution were recorded in the register. Bank reconciliation. The committee observed that the institution did not perform bank reconciliation exercises. Student fees. The committee observed that student fees have increased exponentially to 16.7 million in 2018 from 6.9 million in 2017. Fees outstanding are proportionate to about 30% of combined revenue generated from regular and tailor-made courses. DPPA compliance level. The committee observed that the MDI was found to be 50% compliant, which denotes fairly compliant with the Gambia Public Procurement Authority Amendment Act 2018 and the Regulations 2003. Recommendations. The committee recommends that the management of MDI should ensure that all assets of the institution are properly recorded and accounted for to safeguard them and to help prepare a summary financial report. Assets donated to the institution during the financial year be valued fairly and incorporated in the books of the organization. This needs to be completed by the end of 2021. The management should devise a recovery strategy to enhance collection of fees due from students, particularly those that are long overdue. Debtors' accounts should be regularly checked to identify and address doubtful and recoverable debts. The Accounts Department of MDI must ensure bank reconciliation is done on a monthly basis and all issues resolved with the respective banks. The activity report of MDI should include organogram, vision and mission statements, list of academic and administrative staff by gender, nationality and qualification, and the student population disaggregated by gender and on all the programs offered. The management of MDI should fully implement all the recommendations from NACA with immediate effect. The committee recommends that management should ensure all the previous recommendations are fully implemented. Development policies and strategies that will address the issue of tuition fees and arrears. Develop an MOU with the University of the Gambia to address the issue of sharing facilities and resources. Broad recommendations. The Higher Education Act should be reviewed so as to address the administrative and procedural challenges of the institution. The composition of members of the board should be consistent with the budget allocation for the research departments should be increased in order to enable the institution to conduct effective and efficient research to realize its objectives. Concerted efforts should be made to strengthen the human resource department. Regular board meetings should be conducted accordingly as dictated by the Act. As director of the Act, various committees must be established by the Council with clear terms of reference and indicate the membership for each committee. And with effect from 2021, NACA should accredit any degree program offered by MDI. Gambia College. issues, concerns, recommendations from the report. The principal of Gambia College presented the activity report of the institution for the year ended 31st December 2014 to 31st December 2018 to the committee. The reports cover the activities, financial statement, and constraints, as well as updates on the implementation of previous recommendations of the then PAC. The Director of Finance presented the financial statement. The auditors reported on the audit findings, whilst DPPA presented a compliance report of the institution with procurement regulations. Findings, bank reconciliations. The committee observed that bank reconciliation statements for the period 2014 to 2018 were never done as indicated in the cash book. Fixed assets. The committee noted with great concern that previous auditors suggested to management to develop its fixed asset register, and this was never implemented. Most of the fixed assets acquired were either through outright purchase or grants, and were never incorporated in the accounts of the college, apart from the pre-2013 assets, which were valued at $33,000. Manual accounting system. The committee observed that the college still maintains a manual accounting system which is outdated and prone to errors. Missing unsigned payment vouchers. Some payment vouchers, mainly cash payment vouchers, were missing from 2014 to 2018. The committee also observed that some are without signature of the approving authority and relevant supporting documents. The committee noted that the problem of missing payment vouchers persists for quite a long time. Despite several requests by the committee for justification to such practices, management can still provide any justifications. Staff loan. The committee observed that loans issued during the second half of 2017 were not deducted up to January 2018, contrary to the policy. For staff, 50% of their salaries were deducted. In some cases, over 80 to 90% of their salaries were deducted, leaving those staff vulnerable with very little to take home. The committee also noted that some loans were issued but no repayments were made. Treasury management. The committee observed that cash books are not properly maintained and there were no bank reconciliations in the previous years. During the year under review, the two commercial bank accounts, GT Bank and EcoBank, were grossly overdrawn, resulting to high commission and interest charges, which amounted to 265,523.91 and 106,469.04 bututs, respectively, whilst there were other accounts which could have been utilized by management to avoid such high commission and interest charges. Project funds expenditures. The committee observed that Gambia College is running several projects concurrently, and management uses project funds interchangeably with the college's fund as reflected in the audit report from 2016 to 2018. This has serious consequential effects that will negatively impact on the progress of these projects. See below. So that's the table below. We have first column item number, second column project, third column opening balance as at 31st December 2017, project income received 2018, project payments made, and then closing balance as at 31st December 2018. We have project FTI 1,222,734. Project income received. That's the opening balance. Project income received was 342,000. Project payments made is $1,031,800. So that's the table. I think we just skip that table. Honorable members will just read that from the table and we proceed. Then we go to accounting and audit issues. During the year 2018, the committee noted some negative variances in some budget items from the audit report. A total of $4,084,970 was overspent against the budget. The table below shows that. So that one is also in the table. 4 columns, expenditure, budget, actual, and variances. DPPA compliance on page 20. The Gambia College was found to be 59% compliant in 2015, partially compliant, 78% in 2016, which was mainly compliant with the public procurement rules and regulations, and the compliance for 2017-2018 was not presented. So there was no compliance report for 2017 and 2018. NACA audit report on Gambia College. The committee noticed that enrollments were made without due consideration to the available human and physical resources, thus rendering some classes overcrowded. The audit report further highlighted that there was no evidence of physical files of students as a backup for the online application form. There were discrepancies in the admission requirements for the entire program stated in the college's program brochures. Library facilities. The committee noticed that the college does not have a well-equipped library and there is no existing procedure for updating stock of textbooks within the library. During the audit exercise, there was no existing communication between the librarian and the head of the schools for compilation and procurement of required books. Recommendations. The committee recommends the following. For effective budgetary management control, the committee strongly recommends management to prepare budgets realistically on time and effectively monitor the quarterly management reports and take necessary measures for timely corrective actions. Management should maintain separate cash books for each bank, post transactions correctly, and perform monthly bank reconciliation for all bank accounts. The committee strongly recommends management to determine the assets which existed as of 2017 and their respective value. Accumulated depreciation charges and net book value should be incorporated in the next audited accounts. The committee strongly recommends management to computerize its accounting system for proper, accurate recording of all financial transactions. The committee strongly recommends management to put stringent measures in place to ensure the safety and availability of payment vouchers for verification and that they are properly safeguarded against unauthorized personnel. Furthermore, management should take the finance unit to trace these missing documents. The committee strongly recommends that all loans be deducted on due dates, and college should also have a loan policy. In any case, loan deduction must not go above 40% of the salary. The committee strongly recommends for management to reconcile the cash book and all its bank accounts, regularize and update all the outstanding items on a monthly basis. Management should periodically review the bank balances to determine where to make certain payments before checks are raised. This priority should be treated with urgency. The committee strongly recommends the board and management of the college to desist from transferring one project funds to another so as to achieve the desired goals of each project. The enrollment and application procedure must be done through the online portal application. Students without the minimum requirements should be discouraged. The committee further recommends that henceforth the college must prepare minutes of meetings of the admission and ensure that each page of the minute is signed by the secretary. The board of directors should employ competent chartered accountants and support staff to take charge of the finance unit. The board of directors should employ competent internal auditors to ensure there are checks and balances in all financial transactions. The committee recommends that the college must appoint a qualified librarian and library support staff. Expansion, building of new library with capacity to accommodate at least 20% of the student population. The management of Gambia College must put in place mechanisms to control lateness and absenteeism of lecturers. The committee recommends for the Ministry of Higher Education, in consultation with National Audit Office, to conduct forensic audit exercise of Gambia College. The committee strongly recommends with immediate effect that the Ministry of Higher Education to dissolve the current governing council and constitute a new one. Governing council should approve overspending on any budget line. Then we go to lecturers' regularity and punctuality. The committee observed the high rate of absenteeism of both full-time and part-time lecturers and the moonlighting of lecturers, which have a negative impact on syllabus coverage and quality of programs. The committee observed with grave concern on the appointment of part-time lecturers at the college, and management does not do adequate supervision on their operations. Executive summary. The tour was incurred on, this is going to be the next part of the consolidated report, visitor schools on how to reach areas of CRR and URR. This is the second part of the report. The tour was anchored on assessing and understanding the challenges of how to reach schools in URR and CRR are faced with, and to identify factors that affect effective teaching and learning as well. It is important to note that schools categorized by the Ministry of Education as hard to reach lack basic amenities and human resource capacity to operate as normal schools. The committee recognizes that improving teaching and learning in hard-to-reach schools requires two interventions: increased budgetary allocation and prioritization of MOPSI's budget with regard to hard-to-reach schools. Methodology. The committee was divided into two teams. The first team was tasked to visit 5 schools in URR North and 5 schools in CRR North, whilst the second team visited 5 schools in URR South and 2 schools in URR South. The total number of schools to visit was 17. A questionnaire was developed. Consultation meetings were held with regional directors and several stakeholders within the education sectors. Meetings and interviews were conducted with school administrators, senior teachers, and staff. And the committees also conducted tours of schools combined with observations. Courtesy call on Regional Education Directorate, Region 5. As tradition demands, the team first made a courtesy call on the Regional Directorate of Education in Basse. Regional Director and his team accorded the team a very warm welcome and made them feel at home. The committee had frank conversations, after which a conducted tour of the complex was undertaken. Observation made at Regional Education Directorate. Staff of the directorate seemed to be in very good spirit and committed to managing public sector education services in the region effectively. It emerged from the conversations that the team was on top of issues confronting education in the region. The directorate did not mince their words to express their concerns. The committee noted the following issues and challenges: poor state of buildings and the facilities, both offices and residences, poor hygiene of the compound, particularly waste management and the condition of the sanitary facilities. C, the lack of teachers for certain subjects in upper basic and senior secondary schools in the region. D, high living conditions for teachers in remote settlements. E, high cost of electricity due to the heavy consumption of energy. Findings. The committee observed the following issues and challenges: inadequate toilet facilities, lack of adequate and, in some cases, deplorable staff quarters, inadequate clean drinking water supply, poor and inadequate infrastructure such as classrooms, high enrollment for the early childhood development component against limited classroom blocks. Key challenges. The committee noted the following issues and challenges. Inadequate facilities. On inadequate facilities, we have, in some cases, staff and students having to share the same toilet facilities. The disproportionate ratio of number of children or students to number of toilet cubicles. This is 25. Page 26. Lack of or inadequate in some cases deplorable staff quarters. Amity Senior Secondary School is a case in point here. Inadequate clean drinking water supply, poor and inadequate infrastructure with reference to classrooms, school fences, recreational facilities. Number 5, poor hygiene, no schools. 6, inadequate classroom furniture. 7, in some worst case scenarios, teachers having to occupy classrooms or other parts of the school for accommodation. 8, inadequate space for ECD sector, hence limited number of children schools can take. Consequently, many children find themselves out of school. 9, in some instances, teachers are charged an unrealistic amount of money by landlords for rent. 10, lack of electricity poses a challenge to the effective teaching of science and technology. 11, low admission rate in upgraded schools due to the high rate of student transfers to schools like Bansang Senior Secondary School and Amity High School, or Amity Senior Secondary School now. School visits, Upper River Region, URR. School 1, Welingara Yare, Lower Basic School. The head teacher reported that the total number of students is 322, of which 169 were girls, and the total of which 169 were girls. And the total number of teachers is 6, including 1 female teacher. The school head highlighted the following challenges. inadequate water and electricity within the school premises, dilapidated and congested staff quarters, lack of sufficient classroom to accommodate the high rate of enrollment, particularly the ECD. Committee's observation: renovate the incomplete building by the former UNICEF representative. Then School 2, Gunjur-Kuta Lower Basic School. The village community of Gunjur-Kuta established this school in 1982. According to the head teacher, the school constitutes 4 classrooms with an enrollment of 409 pupils and a teaching staff of 6, including the head teacher. He said due to the unavailability of space, the ECD is using one of the rooms of the village health center as classroom with an enrollment of 150 pupils. He noted the following challenges: A, lack of enough classroom to cater for the growing demand of enrollment. B, lack of learning materials, chairs, tables. We had a situation where 4 children were sharing a desk. A small classroom size, lack of teaching staff, lack of trained ECD teachers, congested staff quarters, i.e. 2 teachers per room, lack of adequate toilet facility, inadequate water supply. Committee's observation: the need for the building of complete structure from grade 1 to 6. B, to cope the increased demand of enrollment of the ECD sector, the ministry should erect a block for ECD. C, increase the number of teaching staff. D, considering the distance of the closest basic cycle, Marekunda, which is 5 kilometers. They said it should be Morekunda. Yeah, you are right. It should be Morekunda, not Marekunda, I suppose. But Morekunda, which is 5 kilometers. The school be upgraded to a basic cycle. Lack of fence causes distraction by passers-by and animals. In 𝒊𝒏𝒇𝒐𝒓𝒆 basic school. According to the head teacher, the school roll is 293 with 7 teaching staff, including both the female teacher and school head. The head teacher, together with his staff, highlighted the following challenges: lack of enough classrooms, inadequate water supply, poor toilet facilities, no staff quarters to accommodate the staff, low capacity and managerial problem of the borehole tank. Committee's observation: the committee visited the head teacher's residence to ascertain the condition in which he lived. Unfortunately, they came to notice that his conditions are quite unbearable and unimaginable as well. He lives in a thatched house unfit for human habitation. Subsequently, the committee made the following recommendations: the construction of additional classroom, increasing the capacity of water tank to adequately cater for both villages and the school, building of staff quarters. Now the lower basic school. According to the head teacher, the school was built in 1981. The school's roll was 312 with 4 teaching staff, including a female teacher and school head, with 3 classrooms. The school runs on multi-grading system. The head teacher, together with his staff, reported the following challenges: A, inadequate teaching staff. B, early marriage posed a great challenge for the completion of the education of the girl child. C, inadequate classroom. D, lack of staff quarters and exorbitant rental charges for staff. I, staff pay a house rent of $800 per room. E, inadequate and poor condition of toilet facilities. F, lack of access to clean drinking water and electricity. Committee observations: lack of classroom to accommodate the growing population of the nursery sector, lack of access to clean drinking water, electricity, and proper toilet facilities. And we have Bolibana Basic Cycle School. The school has an enrollment of 221 pupils with 13 teaching staff. Committee's observation: absence of a school perimeter fence, insufficient number of teachers for certain subjects such as mathematics and Islamic studies. C, shortage of cleaning materials like wheelbarrows, dustbins, rigs, etc. D, cessation of the school feeding program. E, lack of science or home science laboratories and workshops for technical subjects. Consequently, lessons for those subjects are only administered in theory and students cannot register them for the WAEC, for the Gambian exams. F, lack of electricity supply. G, lack of poor network coverage for any of the Gambia's GSMs, resulting to teachers subscribing to Senegalese GSMs. H, some teachers having to use classroom for accommodation owing to non-availability of quotas. And I, poor remuneration for caretakers and other ancillary staff. The committee was delighted to note through the intervention of GTU-CCU, a 16-room staff quarter was under construction. Members of the committee made some observations on the design of these structures and made some on-spot recommendations which were noted by the school administration and the GTU-CCU representative. 6. Sonkunda Basic Cycle School. Situated a few kilometers off the trunk road in the eastern part of Kantora district, this school was established in 1977. It has a roll of 668 students, of which 103 are in the upper basic, and then of which 103 are in the upper basic. The school has 20 staff, including 2 female teachers. Furthermore, there is 1 early childhood development class. Committee observations: shortage of clean drinking water, limited classrooms, absence of electricity supply, inadequate structure is being used as a library, cessation of school feeding program, absence of trained CEO, ECD tutor, lack of the following: science laboratory, workshop for technical subjects, essential materials for the effective teaching of mathematics, acute shortage of cleaning materials such as wheelbarrows, rails, dustbins, protective gear for caretakers, laborers. The committee saw a building under construction funded by MRC Holland Foundation. The committee was certainly delighted to have come across such an exemplary donor initiative. And Fatoto Upper Basic and Senior Secondary School. Although Fatoto Upper Basic and Senior Secondary School is not part of the schools considered hard to reach, the delegation deemed it necessary to visit the institution and engage the authorities. The school was established in 1998 and presently has 509 students on the roll in the upper and senior secondary schools combined. The school has 20 teaching staff. Committee observation: the school lacks teachers for certain subjects such as English language, government, visual arts and agricultural science, acute shortage of furniture, ill-equipped metal workshop, school facilities and buildings need renovation, insufficient teaching and learning materials, deplorable condition of staff quarters. And the committee's observation: the need to place the school under a board of administrators could perhaps address most of these issues. Number 8, School 8, Nyamanari Lower Basic School. The visit availed the delegation an opportunity to meet the headmaster of the school, who furnished the committee with the following information. Committee's observation: inadequate furniture for classrooms. The school is fenced with wires, which is grossly inadequate. Serious water shortage, as the only source of water is a 30-meter open well. This puts the life of students and staff at risk. 9. Sarenjobo Lower Basic School. Situated about 5 kilometers south of Mankamakunda in Jimara district, this school was established in 1993 and has a roll of 303 pupils, including 5 ECD pupils. Including 50 ECD pupils. The school serves 10 satellite communities. There are 7 at the school. There are 7 at the school teachers. There are 7 school teachers at the school. Committee observation: absence of perimeter fence, seriously dilapidated staff toilet, severe water shortage, as the closest water facility in the village is some 300 meters away from the school. Lack of staff quarters, which forces teachers to settle for renting poorly constructed houses in the village. Lack of electricity supply. The closest village to access electricity supply is Gilangel. Limited number of classrooms. There are only 6, including the ECD class. Acute shortage of classroom furniture. Most of the pupils walk for more than 4 kilometers to school from villages like Sare Pate, Sumakunda, and Sare Ali. The closest bank is Bassett. Consequently, teachers travel to this distant town to receive their monthly salaries. Committee's observation: enrollment at Sarenjobo has increased sharply as a result of an enrollment campaign initiated by the school, especially at the ECD level. This laudable initiative should be adopted by other schools in the region as deemed necessary. Activities and findings in Central River Region, CRR. Now, we have just completed the schools in URR. Now we are going to CRR. In 𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒈 South, delegation first paid a courtesy call on the Director of Region 5 in Janjanbureh. After a warm welcome, the Director, Mr. Paul Mendy, gladly informed the delegation that his directorate was battling with structural challenges and other issues which are not unique to his region. He, however, urged the delegation to make a short visit to Armitage High School, which is a stone's throw from the directorate. The director lamented issues that were very similar to those raised by RED 6, that is Regional Education 6. Armitage Senior Secondary School, situated in the town of Janjanbureh. This institute is one of the oldest schools in the country. The school was established in 1927. It is the only government boarding senior secondary school in the country. Committee's observation: dilapidated staff quarters, putting the health and safety of members of staff at risk, insufficient classrooms, grossly inadequate dormitories for students. Presently, only 500 students out of 800 students are housed in the school's dormitory. The school is grappling with the shortage of quality beds for the students despite support from Child Fund, the Gambia. Feeding is also reported to be a crucial issue. There is a pressing need for improving and expanding the sanitary facilities like toilets in the school. It is noteworthy that MRC Holland Foundation carried out massive repair and maintenance of the school's infrastructure not too long ago, and the buildings look very good. However, the maintenance scheme did not include staff quarters. Chagel Basic Cycle School. This settlement is situated some 20 kilometers away from Bansang in the Upper Fuladu West constituency, making it one of the most difficult schools to access. Committee's observation: non-existence of workshops for technical subjects, lack of sporting just to support physical education and extracurricular activities, no home science laboratory to support pupils opting for those subjects in external exams, the acute water shortage, the absence of staff quarters making it difficult for staff, F, absence of a school perimeter fence, G, acute shortage of furniture for classrooms, H, the challenge is in retaining pupils in classrooms, particularly during the rainy season when parents keep their children at home for farming. I, absence of computers, accessories, and printers or copiers to enable the school to facilitate administration and prepare questions rather than outsourcing these services. Committee's observation: considering the fact that the nearest senior secondary school is located 10 kilometers away, the committee observes the need to expand the school to a secondary school to mitigate the risk of pupils dropping out. School 13, Karantabaloa Upper and Senior Secondary School. The school principal, together with his staff, reported the following challenges: congested and dilapidated staff quarters, low capacity of water supply, difficulties in retaining students at the senior school, no electricity to support the learning and teaching of sciences and other disciplines. Senior school level is being taught by high teacher certificate trainees. The borehole is located 10 meters away from the toilet facilities. Committee's observations: the upgraded senior secondary school lack graduate and competent teachers to run the available fields of study, the absence of basic amenities that support learning of science and technology, low capacity for the borehole, inadequate structure to cater for the growing numbers of enrollment, leaking and dilapidated structures. Nyanga Bantang Lower Basic School. The principal, together with his staff, reported the following challenges: deplorable and dilapidated staff quarters unfit for human habitation, teachers sleep in classrooms during heavy downpour, low enrollment due to the notion that girls' child is more appropriate to conventional schools, lack of clean drinking water with the school premise, and the prevalence of water contamination from rust due to the nature of the hand pump. E, poor conditions of toilet facilities. F, inadequate teaching staff and technical teachers. G, women transporting their children from a long distance with the use of donkey carts. Committee observations: the need for immediate construction of staff quarters to avoid the risk and disaster of sleeping under structures that are likely to collapse in no time. Njao Basic Cycle. The principal, together with his teachers, reported that some of the classes lack teaching and learning materials. lack of staff quarters to accommodate and retain staff, lack of clean drinking water and electricity, the lack of school fences, which makes students and staff prone to the adverse effects of harmattan wind, inadequate toilet facilities, and our committee's observation, lack of adequate toilet facilities resulting to staff sharing toilets with students, lack of solar power electricity to advance the education of science and technology. 16, Chairman Lower Basic School and Chairman Lower Basic and Senior Secondary School. The principal, together with the senior management team, highlighted the following challenges: early marriage as a causative factor for low rate of enrollment, difficulties in retaining students at senior school, lack of electricity that advances the students on science, lack of electricity that advances the education of science and technology, the high rate of student transfers and inadequate graduate teachers, the school lacks the necessities that qualifies as senior secondary school, inadequate classroom to accommodate the growing demand of enrollment, more particularly the lower sector. Committee's observation: low storage capacity for the existing borehole tank, B, inadequate classroom blocks, C, posting graduate teachers to handle senior secondary schools, D, low enrollment in the senior secondary school, E, no fence around the school, and F, inadequate facilities. General recommendations: to ensure schools have more money on SIG, all ECD pupils should be captured in the nominal roll of their respective schools. 2, all upgraded basic schools should be furnished with sufficient classrooms and furniture before they are operational. 3, there is need to increase the number of teaching staff, especially graduate teachers, to ease the load of the other teachers. 4, schools need to be fenced to avoid animals disrupt lessons and reduce the adverse effects of the harmattan wind on students. 5, the construction of staff quarters to accommodate and retain young teachers. 6, building of staff quarters and toilet facilities for the teachers should be a priority for 𝒊𝒏𝒈 and should be included in their annual budget. 7, there is a need to build science labs in all upgraded schools to strengthen the education of science and technology. These labs must be equipped with relevant materials. 8, there is a need to expand the post-solar power projects in all schools to advance the teaching of science and technology. So we have the committee members. These activities were carried out during the 5th legislature, and the committee members are Honorable Yaya Gassama, Honorable Ahadin Bow, Honorable 𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒈, Honorable Ablaye Cissé, Honorable Afuseni Cissé, Honorable Seni Touré, Honorable Alhaji Dabo, Honorable Sida Jata, Honorable Mohamed Mahanera, Honorable Bakar Njai, Mr. 𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒂, Subject Matter Specialist, Ms. Aissatou Sonko, Committee Clerk, Mr. Amadou A.M. Ba, Committee Clerk, Mr. Mamadou A.M. Ba, Committee Clerk, Mr. Modika Ba, Research Officer, Mr. Babakar Diouf, GTU CCU, Mr. Issa Sow, MAPSI, Mr. Musa Sarr, Red, Basse, Mr. Abdouba, Red, Basse, Mr. Janko Jawne, Red, Basse. Then we have the name of the honorable members on the select committee. Of course, these are Yaya Gassama Chairperson, Alhaji Mbow Vice Chair, Honorable Sida Jata Member, Honorable Afuseni Cissé Member, Honorable Matar Jem Member, Honorable Bakar Njai Member, Honorable Mohamed Mahanera Member, Honorable Seni Touré Member, Honorable Fakeba Enel Kori, late Member, Honorable Osman Touré Member, Honorable 𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒈 Member, Honorable Ablaye Cissé Member, Honorable Ndeye Yassine Seck Member, Honorable Alhaji Sankun Jammeh Member, Honorable Alhaji Dabo Member, Honorable Alhaji S. Dabo Member, Honorable Mohamed Magasin Member. The subject matter specialists were Mr. Sekou O.M. Diba and Mr. Momad M. Samba. Secretaries were Ms. Aissatou Sonko, Mamadou A.M. Ba, Modika Ba. Then the aides were Babakar Seka, Jamila Udum, Pa Mudu Ann, and Mrs. Awasao. With this, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move. Thank you.
Thank you. Any seconder? The member for Latikunda Savi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I just want to advise the National Assembly when we prepare reports, especially committee
Any
reports.
seconder?
Yeah, I moved to second. Very much. When we write committee reports, it will be very nice for all the institutions we visited to sit here so that they can hear the recommendations that comes from them. I will start with the University of the Gambia for their lack of instituting governing council for the longest time. In the full disclosure of facts, governing council is very, very important for the affairs of any university. So this is telling us how unserious our institutions are, especially the University of the Gambia, for failing to institute this most important part of the administration. And it's also telling us the extent of how we are not serious as people to properly manage our institutions. So I will advise the University of the Gambia through higher education to institute this most important aspect of their administration. Now, I will also move to the procurement process of the institutions visited. For me, I don't understand why the committee will recommend to tell us that compliant, when you visit an institution, only 79% committed to procurement rules, even 98% of procurement rules, you cannot call that compliance. Because for me, that 2% can cost the government of the Gambia, can cost taxpayers millions of dollars or dollars. So if you visit any institution that is not, whose performance or whose commitment to procurement rules is only 90%, 98%, 99%, if it is not 100%, we cannot call that compliance. This is utter nonsense and a very misguided statement. Now, I will move to 𝒊𝒏𝒇𝒐𝒓𝒆, is it page 78? It's 𝒊𝒏𝒇𝒐𝒓𝒆 Lower Basic School. Lack of access to clean drinking water, a school that was established in 1981. I think it is high time politicians, we start to respect our voters and we start to be committed to the affairs of our voters. Then recall, a school that was built in 1981. I was born in 1981. Lack of access to clean drinking water is still a problem in that school. I think Gambians should start to stop paying tax and to vote politicians into the office. I think the citizens of this country, is high time that they stop voting and they stop paying tax. If you are not serious to their affairs, a school established in 1981, 2023 is still not, doesn't have access to clean drinking water, and we want to call ourselves a very serious politician and a very serious country. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the member for Latrikunda. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do consider the consolidated report of the Select Committee on Education, Training and ICT on public institutions from 2017 to 2020 and its visit to schools on hard-to-reach areas in CRR and URR in July 2022. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Any honorable member who wishes to take part may do so, in the debate may do so now by raise of tag. The honorable member for 𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒈.